Okay, f minus g of 2 is f of 2 minus g of 2. Now let's find f of 2. So f of 2 is going to equal the square root of 2 minus 3, which equals the square root of negative 1, which again does not exist. So already we know the answer to this is going to be does not exist. As soon as one piece doesn't exist, the whole f minus g is going to not exist. We'll keep going though and find g of 2, which is going to equal 2 times 2 plus 4, which is 8. Okay, so we'll just finish this off. Even though we know the answer is does not exist, I'm going to go does not exist minus 8, which is does not exist. What this leads into is an idea of what is called restrictions. Okay, what restrictions, you think it's like restricting something, but really what it is what can x be, or what x can be is the restriction. So if we're looking at something like f of x is the square root of x minus 3, I know when we take the square root of a number, it can only be 0 or positive. I can't take the square root of a negative number. So to find the restrictions on x, I'm going to say, okay, I know that x minus 3 has to be greater than or equal to 0. So the restriction on x in this case is that it has to be greater than or equal to 3. Any x value that's not greater than or equal to 3 is going to produce something that does not exist. Now let's consider g of x and see if there's any restrictions on x for g of x. So g of x equals 2x plus 4, and this is something that has no restrictions. What I always check when looking for restrictions is, can x be positive, can x be negative, and can it be 0? Well, I'm multiplying x by 2. If I multiply a positive number by 2, is it not possible? And of course it is. I can multiply 0 by 2. I can also multiply negative numbers by 2. So I always check positives, negatives, and 0. So what's important in this example is this idea of restrictions, and that the restriction of f of x and g of x applies to what we're looking for. So because f of x only works for x values greater than or equal to 3, we can only get answers if our x value is greater than or equal to 3 for anything combining f and g.